Yeah, guys, this is Roger here, Unaffinity Extra. We're here to be extra. This is how we do it. Now, I have got, I guess I'm just lining up all my devices because I know somebody's going to start communicating with me in a bit anyway. So, yeah, now, I have got a guess. I'm gonna build this all up, guys, yeah? Now, I mean, how can I build this up? Right, so basically, I would say about 8 years ago, I never had a clue about mental health. I just helped out a project which was about with Mind, organization called Mind, and it kind of blew my mind literally, and it really set me on a journey of really reflecting on my faith and mental health. Now, I don't really talk. I probably do talk about it, but I've fortunately been blessed that my defiance of playing football and keeping fit and healthy has helped my mental health, and but that went against my colleagues at church where they said, like, you know what, stay at home and da. So I was like, you know what, we need to be talking about this thing and we need to be dealing with it. I've seen things like so-called possessed. I've seen how do we deal with bipolar. We've got a whole heap of questions, but we're going to deal with this journey of mental health. And then I realized there's people that are 20 years older than me that's been in the mental health scene for years, but I never see them say nothing. So what's really going on? So saying all that, getting myself all into trouble, I would say I met this young lady a few months back, and through actual local project, not even through church at all, and she's doing a podcast called My Lockdown, and next minute I'm going, hold on, you're doing a PhD in mental, like, who does that anyway? Who does PhDs, you know what I mean? And not me, I tell you that for free. And I've learned so much, but I thought, you know what, I sat down there this week and I thought, you know what, let me have a conversation, because she's always asking the questions. I want to drill down and how on earth she's got here still, yeah? So we're going to go for it. Now I'm going to go, hopefully when I press the unmute button, I'll be able to hear her. Sis, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Roger.
Okay, let me just make sure me turn you up and everything. Let me turn you up. Okay, say hi for me again.
Hi, Roger.
Okay, we can hear you nice and clear, sis, yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
Right, I'm gonna. You know what? I've always said hi, Angela, but I've never said your surname in front of you, so I'm gonna assume that I get this right. It's Kumah.
Yeah.
Okay.
With an H, not an R.
Kumah.
Yeah.
Kumah. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. You see, guys, just want to put it out there. Ghanaian names are way more easier than my Nigerian colleagues, man. My Nigerian colleagues, it's like, really? It's like you're missing that letter, and you're missing that letter. Anyway, so I'm gonna get myself into trouble here still, anyway, yeah. And usually, Angela, I ask the question: rice and peas or jollof rice? Yeah,
jollof rice, please. Jollof rice, any day, all day. Ghanaian jollof, to be specific. And I'm going to start a war, but.
Wow, Ghanaian, I heard that it's all down to the oils. I heard, you know what I mean. I heard that, So before you guys get clever on me, I know I got some friends who are Ghanaian, and they start. There's one who grew up in Italy, and they use olive oil. Yeah.
Okay.
And then my other friend that's over here, she said, "Oh, but I use palm oil." Red palm oil, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm just like, yo, you guys just fight it out.
Use red oil for jollof?
Yeah.
They're not Ghanaian. Do them.
So before, guys, I just put it out there. I don't eat jollof rice, yeah? Not because I don't. I just live in an area where rice and peas reigns, yeah? So, and then from when you use oil, so much oil in food, I'm like, no, can't be part of my life. I get too addicted to it. But, so... You said the jollof so quick. I wasn't gonna ask the question, but you know what I mean. It's so quick, man. But listen, Angela, before I get into the whole journey and the whole mental health thing, I really want to set a scene for yourself personally, because sometimes sorry, just had just want to just interject slightly. I knew this would happen, but Lady T reckons that Nigerian jollof is superior. I must admit I've had Nigerian jollof rice because I had no choice in Lagos. I never had a choice between Ghana. Anyway, but she and oh yeah, she's moaning about the names thing, but you know I can't say surnames from Nigeria. I get them wrong. But anyway, right. So just sis, give us a bit of your background. You know what I mean? Because obviously, not obviously, but you're not born and bred in the UK. You're over here studying, but just give us part of your journey, man, and where you've been at, and your sights and scenes on the way. I may just jump in and ask you a few questions on that, but yeah, just give us insight, sis.
Okay, so my name is Angela Kumah. I am not too old at all. Cool. I'm from a family of 6 in Ghana.
Cool.
Or 8. I have 5 siblings actually, and I'm the 5th.
Okay.
Yeah, so a really big family. I'm a pastor's kid.
Okay, BK.
Yeah,
all right.
BK. But my parents run like a printing press, so I've always grown up around books and a lot of paper and a lot of writing. Okay. So it's basically in my blood. So I mean, yeah, it's no surprise that I ended up doing a PhD because I'm so used to all the research and the writing and all of that. I grew up in church, so I've been Christian all my life.
Cool.
But I think I really started to understand my relationship with God when I was 9. And that's a whole different experience.
When you're 9, you just get into a relationship with God from the age of 9. What is it with 9? You know how many people I know, all these mature people, they get saved at the age of 9. There's something about 9. You know, my wife got the same thing from my wife, 9. Another friend of mine, 9. And I'm thinking, I just waited till I was leaving school. You know what I mean? But anyway, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, God has timing for all of us, so it's fine.
Cool.
But yeah, and I've always wanted to like support people with mental health issues, or basically just bring respite to people and with regards to their emotional well-being.
Yeah.
And I think I recently found that is in line with my purpose. And when we start to talk about gifts, spiritual gifts, for instance, I always thought I had the gift of healing, but and it was physical healing, but I found out later that the Lord was saying that it's more of emotional healing than physical healing.
Wow.
So yeah, that's what took me down the path of doing psychology all my life. And from undergrad to my master's, I did my master's in Swansea University. So I came to the UK in 2017. That's where all of this started. And I was here till 2018, went back home in 2019, and then came back for my PhD. God opened another door for me to come. So I'm here for another 4 years, maybe more. You never know. But yeah, that's a bit about me.
So, okay, right. So when you come to church now, one thing I've learned this year, when it comes to church, you have to define what church you come from, because there's a difference between Ghanaian Church of England and Ghanaian, yo, let's just get this fire going on, church. You know what I mean? And the seventh day. So was it a charismatic church you came from? But I'm assuming I'm assuming that, you know, I don't make a big assumption, but, you know, a lot of African churches are quite charismatic, but even if the Church of England, but, you know what I mean? But was it a charismatic Pentecostal?
No, so I grew up in a Baptist church, actually. My father was a Baptist pastor. Ooh. Yeah, so I grew up in the Baptist church. So wait till I talk some posh. I grew up in the Baptist church, and then a lot of things happened. I lost my dad, and then I moved to another church. When I actually went to university, there was a church on my campus that my father used to preach at occasionally and had a lot of friends in, or we knew a lot of people in that church. Okay. And it was my campus church. So after I finished university, I thought, okay, I'll stay there. And so yeah, I stayed on, and I was there for, I think I've been there for about 4 years. It's called Legon Interdenominational Church, but it's sort of like a mix of Presbyterian and Methodist. So they're still very, Protestant and chilled. So not too charismatic, but yeah.
Sis, we're getting on already. That was you sound like my background. Yo, there's no, you know what I mean. We never did the whole tarrying. Anyway, there's not got long services, but our services finished on time. You know what I mean. You have an hour service, sing 2 hymns, and you're out.
Oh no, that's not what happens in Ghana. No. Doesn't happen like that in Ghana. You'd be lucky to get that, man. I think it's happening now because of COVID, but before, no. At least 3 or 4 hours in church. Solid.
That's not meant to be. That's a calm down church, yo. Imagine fire. So going to it then. So, as you know, when you heard the word healing, you mentioned the word healing, kind of growing up, and and you felt like there's a calling in your life when it comes to healing. Now, parents sometimes, from the generation before, sometimes they're very blinkered when it comes to healing. Automatically means that you're gonna be blind to see. You may help people in a physical nature. Now, was your family going mental health? Huh? You know what I'm saying? Or were they open to it?
My family was very different.
Good.
I say a little Americanized, and people say we're bougie, and I'm Dada B. That's what they'll say in Ghana. Like, bougie is Dada B in Ghana. That's what they call it. But
in Nigeria,
I wasn't necessarily Dada B. I grew up in a family where
Okay.
my parents were very open about talking about everything.
Okay.
Talking about emotions, talking about how you're feeling. I mean, imagine you got spanked in my house, and my parents will actually come back to say sorry to you and explain to you why they did it.
You have parents like that?
Yeah.
Jeez, somebody's blessed right about somebody's parents was watching American TV.
You still got a good whooping, you still got it. But I mean, African discipline and all of that. But my parents would come back to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I grew up in a household where my father says, even if you have the biggest fight or argument with your siblings on the phone or wherever, before you leave each other, before you hang up, say I love you. You never know if that's the last time.
Wow! Even when you're crying after meetings.
Oh yeah.
I love you, child.
And it was like,
I love you. Sorry.
Imagine when they beat you up and they say, I will not beat you up, but they spank you and they go, I did it because I love you. And I'm like, I don't know what your definition of love is, but this doesn't look like love. If this is love, I don't want any of it,
I love that line. I do it because I love you.
I grew up in a household where my friends were open about talking about these things.
Yeah.
So when I decided to become a psychologist, I don't think anybody was surprised.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think we've always had a way with talking to people because my mother is a counselor.
Okay, cool.
My mother does a lot of like youth related work and talks about relationships and stuff like that. She's a marriage counselor as well.
Cool. Yeah.
But I think I've always had a way of getting people to open up to me.
Okay,
without
cool.
actually trying.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, at the beginning I thought, okay, maybe I'll go into law because I like to talk and I like to read.
Okay.
And everybody said I could be a lawyer, but I went into university. I applied for law school and I didn't get in. And in Ghana, if you don't get you can apply for a number of courses, and if you don't get your first choice, they give you your second choice. But it's like a fixed set of courses. So I did psychology, English, and Swahili.
Okay.
Don't ask me a word in Swahili. I do not remember any of it. I did it for 3 years and I don't remember anything. I'm really bad at languages. But I was just really excited about psychology, fascinated about understanding human behavior and the human mind and why people act this way and why people do that. And I think right from them, everybody knew that, okay, yeah, she's not going to do anything else. I mean, she's just going to do psychology and do stuff mental health related, So
cool.
I suppose that's where I started.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you finished off your. Let me get this right. You finished off college in Ghana, and then you left Ghana to come to uni over here, or did you do uni in Ghana?
I did uni in Ghana. I did my undergrad in Ghana, and then
and then you did another degree. A degree.
Yeah, and then I got a master's degree.
You did a master's degree here. Okay, cool. Because that's where I just want to master's degree over here in Swansea University.
Yeah, in Swansea University.
Okay.
And then I went back home and came back to my PhD.
Okay, guys, you're gonna think, Roger, why you open going into this? Because we need to know this journey. How did you feel walking into Swansea? Was it a kind of a bit of like, am I feeling alone here or in the room or something? Did everyone just turn around and goes, yeah, somebody who's not from this country is just walked in the room? Was it? Did you feel it, or did you enjoy just being in another country?
I didn't mind. I think I'd always had it in my mind to go to school outside because a couple of my siblings went to school outside. My big brother did all of his university in the US.
Okay.
And I actually had my sights in the US. I never imagined coming to the UK. And It was, God planned. It was just by some miracle that I ended up here because I had my sights set on the school in the US. I was going to go there, and then everybody's like, "No, you're not going to the US. You're coming to the UK."
Wow.
So I was open to the experience of coming here. I don't think it felt too foreign because I have a lot of family here, family and friends, like family, friends, family.
Okay, cool,
so,
cool.
Yeah, I didn't feel like coming here I was going to be alone. They were like, now when if COVID wasn't around, there'll be so many places to go to stay.
Oh, okay,
know?
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
I don't think I felt as alone. It was still strange coming to a different country with very temperamental weather,
Yeah.
but
No.
but and Swansea's proper code, But I don't think I felt so alone.
Wow. Okay. That's cool. So, okay, so you got a picture of you here, and now you're here in Birmingham now, and doing your PhD in what exactly?
So I'm doing my PhD in health, but it's a combination of public health and health psychology.
Cool.
Even though my master's degree was in clinical psychology, so I'm a clinical psychologist by profession. But yeah,
cool.
A bit of a switch.
No. That's cool with me. That goes straight. Like, I'm like, yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Of course I know what you're talking about. All the pros out there, you know what it means. But all sounds fantastic. But it's all, you know what I mean. But no, that's absolutely fantastic. And I think now this is going to more the subject that I want to be touching base about today. And the reason why I brought all that, because I feel that sometimes people ignore the journey and don't realize what's helped you there. Because I would assume that you went to a super, as much as it is fire, but a hyper charismatic church from Ghana. How on earth does somebody who's into hyper charismatic church, you know what I mean, really get into mental health? Because it's the total opposite, because they believe in divine healing, you know what I mean, casting out every demon on earth, anything that's wrong is demonic, and that extremity, so that actually puts me in a better picture in terms of, you know what, your environment growing up, whatever country you was in, you know what I mean, actually helped you actually have such a mindset for this season, and for this field. Now, as you know, you've been a Christian for a long time now, and you come into a situation now where you're dealing with subjects and you've been challenged with norms, things from Christianity. Now, there's a few things which people have messaged me about mental health, and want to shout out and just see what feedback they got. And guys, this is not just want to put it out there. I don't want to be put Angela on the spot like we're having a free session right about it. You know what I mean? And we're getting right free sessions. Yo, phone Roger right man. Send a question and get me something.
I do give free sessions though, so.
She put it out there, guys. Well, I just letting you know you're behind me, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So she's got this nice leather sofa, and whatever to lean back on, and you just let it out for 1 hour, and then your time's over. Somebody else is ready. But sorry, watching too much American programs. But no, on a serious note, when it comes to your faith over these years of learning about mental health, has there been any questions about your faith on the journey?
Oh, so many.
Serious? Okay, cool. For you to go.
So many. Especially when it comes to our conversations about the Holy Spirit. I remember sitting in a psychosis class in Swansea one day, and then the lecturer wasn't Christian, but she said something about the thin line between hearing voices and hearing the Holy Spirit, and how can you claim to hear the Holy Spirit and not be psychotic? That kind of thing. And I went to my room.
Put a pin in that right there. Right, just about the voice of God. I purposely, guys, played a track by Dante Brown called Voice of God.
I love it. Roger, I listened to that song last week and I found myself on the floor. And I can promise you God was in my house that day. I can't explain the experience to you, but man.
It's an amazing song, but the voice of God, what is the voice of God? And the challenge is it you fighting? It's the voices. And then imagine you journey in mental health. How do you as a Christian define, this is somebody who's lost the plot and he's just talking to himself, or is this actually God? You know what I'm saying? Because what's concerned me over the past 6 months is seeing so many VUFs. It's really, I don't know what this season has done and YouTube has done. Unfortunately, I think that a lot of prophets have failed to realize that when you press record and put something online, it's there forever. You know what I mean? Yeah, and there's been a lot of people from Donald Trump is going to be the second president to so many VUFs, says the Lords. It's absolutely dangerous. Oh, going back to my childhood, hearing stories about people going, "Yo, that's my God's told me that you're gonna be my husband, or you to be married, and this is this is God has said this, God has said that, God has said this, God has said." Is it sometimes when you sit down and are you going to yourself, hold on, what is God and what is not God? How, from a mental expert, as a Christian, I can imagine a mental expert says, "Stop it, it's not God." You know what I mean? There's no, there's no God and whatever. How do you translate that to Christians who are hearing people say, "This is God, this is God"? Now I got my personal opinion about them people talking, but and there's also yourself and your consciousness. You know what I mean? Thinking, "Oh, God spoke to me, and this is why I'm doing this."
Yeah.
How do you deal with that as a Christian person?
I just like to put it out there first of all that God says He has given us a spirit of discernment.
Discernment. Okay, cool.
He asks us to test the spirits that are behind things. So sometimes it gets really complicated when you are maybe really struggling with a mental health issue or mental health problem, and you are still hearing the voice of God. But I think here's the difference between hearing voices and hearing the voice of God. God is not a God of confusion.
Okay.
God is not a God of confusion, and His word says that He brings peace.
Yeah.
He brings joy. Brings rest, and this is not just Him bringing it. This is who He is, and I think that when you get to know somebody very well, you know their voice.
Okay.
You know what your father sounds like. Even if he's like down the road and he's shouting your name, when you tell him, you know that okay, it's my dad that's calling me, or it's my mom that's calling me, or it's this friend of mine that's calling me. And I believe that as we get to know God and as we continue to have a relationship with the Holy Spirit, there's a distinction between His voice and other voices.
But okay, so I would say then, yeah. So because I'm going to change it up because I want people to hear the challenging, my conversations. Then. So reality shows, I totally 100% agree with that statement, and I back that up. But also, what I would say, the beauty of knowing His voice would not go against the word, and it's important to know the word, because what I find is that people manipulate the word to suit what they think they're hearing.
Yeah.
And I've seen that. Now, I'm gonna go probably a bit more strong on this, and I hear what you're saying as well, 100%. So what I found is I'm part of a generation in the Afro-Caribbean community who ran away from church. Yeah, you know what I mean? There's barely nobody in my age. You know what I'm saying? There's nobody in my age. But if they are in church, they've come back. You know what I mean? And they've come back hurt, And if they're not come back, they're stepping back in the four walls of church because they're hurt because of the manipulation. Now, as an expert, and when you're dealing with maybe case studies of mental manipulation, you know what I mean? And they give out situations of cults and stuff. Do you see that on a regular in normal churches? Mental manipulation?
I do. Like, I think one of the biggest ones I've seen so far is don't ask God questions. Where they say, don't ask God questions. What he said, what the pastor says or what the priest says goes. So don't ask God questions. And I think it comes to down to a place of, like you said, manipulation, where people are going to do anything. People are still human at the basics of it. You see, sometimes we shouldn't forget that at the basics of it, people are human beings, and the manipulation and the desperate wickedness of the heart are going to interfere with whatever God or even your walk with God. And I see that in myself sometimes. You can see that in yourself sometimes, that your heart is still, sometimes your heart still is desperately wicked, and people are still going to be manipulated. And unfortunately, religion and faith and Christianity has been such a huge tool for manipulation. And I see it all the time. Like, when I was in Ghana, I used to see it all the time. And I can speak boldly about it because my father used to cause trouble. My father basically had a newspaper where he used to write about false prophets. So you can imagine.
Wow.
Constantly, when that family that was constantly getting in trouble and not being invited to churches to preach because my father was going to thing that's going to offend you.
Okay, your dad's a G.
Yeah.
Yo.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's sometimes it's a really tough call, and to really come to that place where people are like, this is what the pastor said, and then this is what the prophet said, and he slept with me, and he said, people are still desperately wicked at heart, okay, and I think it's a constant reminder of the fallibility of humanity, and reminding us that we should not trust in the arm of flesh, and constantly going back to God with everything. Because listen, the Bible says that He's given us everything that pertains to life and godliness. He's given it to us. He's not giving it to if He's given it to us, He might as well have given it to the prophet as well. So what we want to hear from God, He would tell us without, if He wants to send a man, He's going to send a man or a woman. But He will tell us Himself, I think it's this over-reliance on prophets and pastors and preachers, and they have been put there as our leaders.
That reliance to not look in the Bible, and reliance of feeding from somebody telling you what your future is. I always, you know what I say? The fortune tellers. See, I said to listen. There's a fortune teller that said, "Yo, Paul, that's a prophet of God." Pointed at Paul, and they can see things. The reality show is that I think and maybe probably looking at the more spiritual side of things in terms of and what's going on. But I want to kind of go back and really bounce off your mental health stand as a Christian over the next decades to come, God sparing life. Now, I grew up in church seeing demons being casted out to them, and I'm sure you must have seen a few of that, and I'll say inverted, you saw a lot of that, and that's when prayers, you couldn't do no silent prayers around that period right there. It's called run for your life, and people were basically demon slayers, you could almost call them, you know what I mean, and they would go around doing demons, and because people would have something what the world might call dual personality. Now, as a mental health expert sitting in church, and then they turn around and say, we're about to do deliverance service, you know what I mean, how does that make you feel? Is it an uncomfortable watch, or you just walk out the body? I was putting you on the spot here, sis, sorry.
No, I don't have anything against deliverance, because I think there's a spiritual basis to the various issues that we face. The devil is constantly at work to attack your peace. And that is a thing that we know, But you can't continue to tell somebody to come for deliverance and come for consultation, and people are even charging fees. Where I come from in Ghana, people charge fees for consultation, pastors, and come for consultation so I can cast out that demon, when you are not telling them to go and see a doctor or go and see a therapist, or recommending professional help to them, and thinking that you have all the answers. A lot of the time, those people come to the place where they think that they have the power. The power is within them to cast out the demon. It's not left to God anymore, or it's not left to the professional anymore. There's a place for casting out demons, and there's a place for therapists. I saw a quote, and I think we talked about that in our podcast earlier this week, that said, you can give it to God, but still talk to your therapist. And sometimes when you see some of these things, you really just want to talk to them and say, have you spoken to a doctor? Have you spoken to a mental health?
You just said that like it's normal, but you see that point there, you can talk to God as well as your therapist. Now, if I turn around in church and said, I'm not saying my particular, if I turn around and stood up and gave a testimony, brethren, God's taking me a journey, and I'm seeing my therapist and I'm feeling better, they look at me like, you're spiritually weak. You know what I mean?
but Roger, if your leg got broken, wouldn't you go and see a
I totally agree. I totally agree with this, but the culture, and this is the culture that I really want to be exposing, is that if we go and see the doctor for a broken leg, it's cool. You know what I mean? Pastor prayed over it. You're taking 2 painkillers. Everyone's all good over it. But when you turn around and says, guys, and this goes into one of the guys sent a question that he's got a I think he said his cousin was something about something with I think it was a soldier. I'm going to double check the question, and he's and PTSD. Now, growing up as a child, the assumption is that that the guy comes, he's having bad nightmares, we need to pray for him, brethren, we need to put our hands up, and we do all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
As a professional, that what would what support would you say that's needed for genuine mental health? I don't want to use the word issues, but just mental health sickness. Would you say that's a sickness? What do you do? How do you call it?
You can say mental health issues, mental health problems, mental illness.
Yeah. Mental illness.
It's the same way you say physical health. Problems.
Yeah.
And I'll start by saying that it's because we have, when it comes to things of the mind, we rather leave it to faith. It's things that we can't understand. They're mysteries, so we don't touch them.
Okay.
And that's the idea that's been propagated for a very long time. But for somebody that has been through PTSD, is suffering from PTSD, this person has been to war, seen other people die. Listen, if you see your dog die, the kind of emotional pain that you go through is intense. And you may even sit down as a family and talk about how much you love that dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you still talk to each other.
Yeah.
So what exactly is wrong with going through to war, seeing other people being killed, seeing violence, and coming back to a normal society where everybody's just walking around and nobody's shooting another person? And you think that this person does not need somebody to hold them down and remind them that that happened, but you've come back to this reality of things come and your emotions have been shaken, and your whole perception about humanity and life and love and all the emotions that you could ever feel are hitting you at once. You need somebody who is going to support you, who understands what you're going through or has studied what you're going through. The same way you go to a medical doctor that knows that it's this bone and this bone that have been broken and this is what needs to be fixed. The same way you need to seek professional help from somebody who God has given the gift to be able to sit down and understand your mental turmoil.
Wow. Yeah, no, 100%. And the thing is, we even now look at conditions, like cancer, and we see a number of years journey with going backward and forward from doctors, but when we see mental health, we just want to have 6 sessions and done, and sometimes, guys, if the emotional damage, and now sis, you can correct me, so what I'm picking up from yourself is if the emotional damage is that bad, technically you could, like somebody who's gone through cancer, have to continue to have checkups for potentially the rest of your life. And I think people are looking at end dates to recovering from everything when it comes to mental health, but it's not there now. Dealing with people of color, i.e. African, I think the technical word is African diaspora. Just as I'll say the guys in the West Indies and as darker folk. Anyway, is there an issue compared to other communities when it comes to mental health in terms of us talking about it? Is it issue, or is it our self perception?
I
think
worse? The issue. When you coming to a culture like a more Caucasian or white culture, there's this individualism about individualistic way of going about life, where it's like, okay, see your doctor, see your practitioner. That has been ingrained into the culture, but we have a culture where everything is hush hush, and if something goes wrong, talk about it to your family. We don't want the family to be disgraced. We don't want the other people to hear what is going on within our family. We don't want anybody to look at us, in a different way. That's the collectivist narrative, first of all. And then That's there. You are a strong black woman. You're a strong black man narrative. You have gone through so many things. You know, your ancestors suffered this much. You don't. If you're suffering this little thing, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Black men don't cry. You know, there's all these narratives that have been perpetuated for centuries.
Yeah.
For centuries, going on centuries, and this is what we have grown up knowing, that you're a strong black woman. You're a strong black man. Hide your emotions. Hide your trauma. Only talk to your family members. Don't talk to an outsider about it. You don't want anybody to know what is happening inside of our family, especially if it has to be with mental health, or you are depressed, or you are too sad. Are you sad? We're all here. You can't be sad. You know, you have all of this factors around you. Those kinds of narratives constantly being perpetrated for centuries.
Hey, you know, sis, you know what? And the joke is, yeah, so would you say that in African families you're very prideful as well? Yeah, because I know for Africa, because I know in African Caribbean families, it's like, yo, don't tell nobody, you know. Just remember, you when you go out there, you represent the family. Exactly. Everything you do, you're representing the family. So don't screw up, don't break, hold it together. You'll say, and you're balling your pillow at night, and then it's get up again, and don't let know. And you know, guys, that's unfortunately the environment that I grew up in. And I learned a few years ago that mental health is an issue for it's an element that everyone has to deal with. Yeah, everybody and
everyone.
And go on, sorry,
I just want to add that it's not just about one day you wake up and you are depressed. It could even be coming from that physical illness that you're dealing with. When you are going through cancer and you have to go through chemotherapy and you have to go through losing your hair and losing weight. Yes. I think we really underestimate the fact how much our physical health impacts our mental health. And you see how connected they are. And I mean, for instance, I experienced a bout of depression at the beginning of lockdown. Yeah. And that was because I'd recently been diagnosed with diabetes, type 1 diabetes, out of nowhere with no family history. And I was like, how do I live without not eating sugar and cheesecake again? I mean, without taking insulin.
That destroyed me.
Listen, and I think we try to separate, it's when you are depressed, or when you have anxiety, or when you are schizophrenic. And everybody is like, when you have a mental health issue, you are mad, or you are talking to yourself, or you are walking around in the streets being violent. And that is not all that it is. When you have physical health problems, there's so many mental health problems that could come up as well. I mean, isolated from that, there's also the issue of actual mental illnesses or mental health issues that come up as a result of trauma and loss and all of, lockdown and being stuck at home and all the things that are happening now. And
now, for us, and sorry to interject there. You mentioned about the different elements of trauma. Because I know that my wife, she does diary kidney warrior and demo, and she does and a lot of things that came out there is that when people get diagnosed with chronic diseases. Yeah, my wife just showed me some of the comments that people were getting when they find out their friends got it. It was like, okay, so when will it be all over? Or just the stupid comments from people that's ignorant, about it. And it's like, I said to my wife, like, they really said that? Somebody said to my wife, there's some sorts of, people say stuff, and it's absolutely crazy. So definitely Diary Kidney Warrior about them sort of stuff. But I 100% agree with you, because then the knock-on effect is then basically, as Christians, is there a culture to look after our physical health? Because you know what? We serve the great healer. So whenever I'm sick, I can go, Lord, heal me. And I know you heal me. So do you find that there's a more lazy approach towards our physical health within Christianity?
There definitely is. And I think that's because we have not come down to the mentality of your body is the temple of God enough. You have not understood what it means.
But the thing is, I turned around and said, I don't smoke weed or cigarettes, and I don't drink, so I'm good. But I have.
But you're eating a lot of. Listen,
I go Chinese. I go Nando's and Chinese every day. What, you know what I mean? But I'm healthy. Talk about myself here. Nah.
all of those I mean good life, good few things that we're doing. Drinking, I mean, you don't smoke weed, but you are still not walking enough.
Yeah.
Physical activity is so necessary. I think the Israelites only had to walk, but then I can imagine how fit they were because
Yeah.
they had this constant journey of walking. And I think every time it's like I'm just thinking about every time we talk about our relationship with God, we talk about it in the sense of walking.
Okay.
Yeah. We're not, I mean, even though we are resting in Him, we're not just sitting down and waiting for Him to come
It's
down.
a constant move.
It's a walk.
Yeah, it's a constant move. Yeah.
And this is, I think we can interpret that in terms of our physical health. If God wants to walk with us, then He doesn't want us to be dormant, or He doesn't want us to just sit down all day and eat and not take care of our physical health and not get the checkups that we need to get checked out, because we are waiting till something really, really goes wrong, or our ears are falling off, like my father would say, before you go and see the doctor.
No, 100%, sis. And you know what, guys? You know what's so crazy about this conversation? I'm having this conversation now, yeah? And I'm going, yo, we're going in now. And I'm going, is that the time already? I'm like, yo, I was just about to open up some other things as well. Sis, I know we're going to have another conversation soon, but I would definitely... One thing that you a couple of things that you've said. Now, I always said when I'm doing the radio, doing about gospel music and whatever. One thing I found from our culture, mentally, the music that we put out there, what we're allowed to put out there, is very negative, and it actually sends negative waves. I don't want to use the word energy, but spirit, or whichever way you see it, into our zone. And for me, the importance of, as you said, you was listening to the Voice of God track from Dante Bow. Is there importance of what you listen to? Because we're on a music station, is there importance mentally with the music that we listen to? I'm just assuming, but as a profession, is that something they talk about in terms of what you listen to? Does that make an effect?
Definitely a huge impact. It's the same way that listening to someone constantly telling you you're stupid and you're useless and you're good for nothing, and this is all that you amount to, affects our self-esteem, affects how we see ourselves, our self-image, how we even relate with other people, because we are constantly in this subservient role of I'm not good enough.
Okay.
And that's the same way the kind of music that we're listening to either makes us feel like, okay, this is the path that I'm supposed to be going down, or this is the upliftment I need. And music is, I don't think we really understand the power behind a lot of the words that are being said, and even the spirits that back the kind of music that is being sang,
Yeah.
So and music is a huge part of our culture. Sounds, rhythm, the beats, all of it. Such a huge part of our culture. And I believe that if we're going to go forward with our mental health or mental, well-being, there's more music or art forms that need to be put out that are really actually propagating this, message of, you may be down, you may be struggling, this is what is happening to you, but it's okay to be here.
Okay,
you will get out of it.
Yeah.
More of music that talks about healing, that is actually, you are going through it, but you're going to get better, but you need to seek help,
Yeah.
And before we got on this session, I was just listening to Jonathan McReynolds, May Your Struggles Keep You Near the Cross. I don't remember. And I found, I was just thinking about the lyrics, and it was saying, may your struggles keep you near the cross, and may your troubles show that you need God. May your battles end the way they should, and may your bad days prove that God is good. May your whole life prove that God is good. And I was like, such profound words. He's actually admitting to the fact that, listen, there are going to be bad days.
Yeah.
And there are going to be struggles, and there are going to be battles, and there are going to be just troubles and really horrible days when you don't want to get out of bed, or you don't want to talk to anybody, or you're scared of being in that crowd because you're going to have a panic attack. But that shouldn't take you away from the love of God. That doesn't mean that God has left you. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't seek help. That doesn't mean that there isn't help available. It just means that these days are going to come, but good days will come as well. And you need to find the help that you can get through these days. And that help comes from our family. That's how I understand it. Comes from our family, from seeking professional help, from talking to your pastor who is more mental health mindful and not just stuck on, let me lay hands on you and cast this demon
100%.
out without actually addressing the problem. Because I mean, that's the problem that we have. Let's cast this demon of theft out of you when you don't know that the person does not have food to eat. That's why they're stealing.
Yeah.
I think it's that, we can, link those narratives that this person is suffering from depression or anxiety because this is what is happening in their homes. This is the kind of trauma that they are going through. They are being abused. Somebody's beating them up. They don't have basic needs. That is why they are in this state.
So there's a holistic element to it where you're like this. Okay, we're gonna cast this demon out, but you know what? When they go back home, as you said, they could be getting beaten by their partner. You know what I'm saying? Who is the partner? Sorry, the husband. It's always the husband that gets seen, but but the husband who's the deacon. I'm saying the wife using weapons in the house against the husband, but she's the worship leader, so you can't touch her because she's leading worship and she's the darling of the church. She's pastor's daughter, and you can't publicly shame her. Also, the husband, he's the MD of the band, and I'm not picking on musicians, guys, but but they're the deacon, so you can't put it out there. But they're being abusive knowingly, which is creating absolute mental health issues, not only for the parents, so the two, but also it affects the children. You know what I mean? So the children become withdrawn, and you know what I'm saying, non-interactive, become to hate church, and when they get to an age, because I know that no one dealt with it, that it becomes church hurt.
That's where the generational trauma continues, and it just goes on, and it's a constant cycle, and it's a constant cycle.
Trauma, that's the word there, generational trauma. And sis, man, like there's really, I'm 100% gonna get you back on soon, man, because like there's subjects, and I would like to bring somebody else into the conversation as well, because church hurt is the cause of so much spiraling, not only hurt towards a church, but also people's place in their mind. You know what I'm saying? That they just can't recover within themselves, being hurt, using God to try and bend. Like, people think by saying God has said this to me, because they feel that just because it sounds good, just because in your heart you want the best for the person, doesn't mean it's God. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And it's given out of a genuine heart, because people are not saying, oh, get married to so and so, or do this, and God said this, or God said you're healed by purpose, and because they want the bad for you, they want the best for you, and they're trying to speak that. But the thing is, we need to be very, very careful, because if it's not God, and they're not, there's the other side of things, and the spiraling damage is absolutely crazy. Now, looking future wise for yourself, sis, because this conversation just been crazy. I'm like this, I can talk like this for like the next 20 hours. So sorry, guys. I've gone over my clock time, and usually I would have been banging out some tracks by now. But either way, we're gonna hit this now. How will this generation church, black-led church, accept Angela as a mental health expert in the infrastructure? Because I know there's experts that are in their 60s now that haven't been, their mindset and their knowledge hasn't been accepted, and they haven't been given the platform in the church. Now, do you see that there's a change now, or do you see a continual fight?
The first thing I can say is that we have a long way to go.
Wow.
We do have a long way to go, and I mean, my church in Birmingham is amazing. My church when I was in Swansea was amazing, and that is because we were real. It wasn't wear your Sunday really nice dress and come and sit in church and raise your hand and wave and then go back home, and not have the smaller fellowship of being able to know that I am my brother's keeper, get that in their fellowship, because it's all a show now at this point, where we don't have any buildings to go to and we don't have any nice dresses to wear. This is where people are going to fall out from the church because nobody's calling them to say, have you eaten today?
Wow. Not even how are you, have you eaten? That's the real talk there.
No, really. And I mean, and I'll say this because this is how my parents think and this is how my parents talk. And this is what I've grown up knowing, that, listen, you're not going to be meeting anybody's emotional or mental health needs if you're not willing to meet their physical needs as well.
Wow.
And physical needs include just companionship and reminding them that you are there. Saying that I'm praying for you is not enough. I think that's what we run away
Yeah,
from.
I'll sample that, I'll sample that. Praying for you is not enough, and, amen to amen. Because you know what? Yeah, go on, sis. You're preaching now, right? Go.
Every time we say I'm praying for you, we don't actually pray. And I'm guilty.
Oh,
but
gosh.
every time I say I'm going to pray for you, listen, I will pick up, I'll say, so hold on and let's pray now before we hang up. Or I will send you a voice note and pray because I know that I'm going to forget. But listen,
wow.
I pray for you and I'm praying for you and let's pray are so different. Listen, just being able to tell somebody that I'm going to pray for you now, or the person without asking, I'm struggling emotionally, or this is what's happening to me, I just immediately say a prayer for them over the call on a voice note, and it makes such a tremendous difference. You know how much church would change if everybody, if somebody said they were struggling or was willing to open up enough to you, and then you prayed for them on the spot, or say, can I bring you something? Can I send this to your house? These are meeting the physical needs that will let people open up to you, meeting their spiritual and emotional needs. Oh, I know this therapist, or I know this person that may help or be able to talk to you. Even if it's just one session where you get for free, be willing to pay for it for them.
Come on now. Yeah.
Take it out of your pocket. And I know you want to pay your tithes, but yes, God will not be mad at you for using that money to pay for somebody's therapy session. And I'm going to say that
I know. Talking about and that subject, what came to mind? I've heard of stories in the past. No, I've known physical people. If I've heard of stories of people being disfellowshipped because they couldn't afford. They had to put food on their table. Yeah. And they've done that instead of paying their tithes. One more, and then bam, banished out of church. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's, like, really? You know what I'm saying? And it just really is scary. And hopefully, people who are listening into this right now, you're thinking, oh my gosh, how are we going to, it's making things look really bad. But one thing I would say positively in future-wise is people, like, there's a lot more people now that are aware of mental health. Yeah, 100%. I would encourage people to question where they're at as well. Question where they're even going to leadership-wise, church-wise. I'm not saying people to leave churches, but really have a look at the information that you're eating in. And I think this season is perfect for us to actually digest. Yeah, and you know what's scary? You know what's scary is everyone in the world, apart from Christians, uses the principles from the Bible, and they're successful from using biblical principles. But we don't realize that all the answers are in the book, but we're too lazy to open the book and just listen to a dude.
Because you know what I'm saying? Somebody else has to say it to us so that we can say, and Papa said, and Daddy said. Yeah, and I'm going to go there.
I'm gonna do whatever the leader says, and this is the scariness of our leadership. Leadership is there to empower, not to enslave. Yeah. And my challenge is, if you're a leader listening into this conversation or watching this back on YouTube, because I will be putting it out on YouTube, I say, you're thinking, okay, what on earth is Roger talking about mental health on a Saturday afternoon, the day before Valentine's? Why is it important? And
Valentine's Day means nothing to some of us.
So why is Roger looking at this on a music station? The importance of it, what I'm raising now is that the importance that when we're doing things that are positive, whether it's Affinity Extra Radio, whether it's Premier Gospel, and we're feeding the people correctly, I would encourage people to really look at the window and look at the physical health, because the disproportionate elements of diabetes in our community, you know what I'm saying, it's a serious situation, because diabetes knock-on effects is hitting out other conditions.
Yeah.
Cancer prostate cancer. You've got cancer of the intestine, the colon cancer. That's a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a case of, I lost 2 friends to colon cancer, and I would say about 3 years ago now, 2-3 years ago, and one of them, like, he would do the projects with me, all the gospeling things, and he like bona fide bro, man, and one thing I learned from both of them, and they both died within a year of each other, and one thing I love, they're both, and they're younger than me by a couple of years, and they both said to me, Roger, change your diet now, don't wait until you develop cancer. And I'm saying to people right about now, whether it's physically, food wise, whether it's mentally, check your diets before it's too late. You know what I'm saying? Because they changed the diets to some vegan diets and all these smoothies and stuff, but they said to me, Roger, so to be honest, I ate a lot of McDonald's up to about 3-4 years ago. I was eating McDonald's, you know, and now I can't stand the taste of it. Yeah, so I've slowly said, you know what, I'm not going to wait till it's too late. I'm going to incrementally change my diet. You know what I mean? Keep up with my physical health, be on top of things, because fighting it later is a struggle. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm really excited about mental health, because it's a whole subject, and I would salute you, sis, as a Christian, and if you want backing, you know, I will back this journey that you have. Thanks, because I feel that we do not deal with this correctly in the church. Whether we use this platform to create more mental health conversations, we'll do it. And what we can do is touch base after this conversation, touch base with a couple of presenters, and probably bring a couple more other people coming into this conversation maybe in a month's time, and have a talk about, okay, then, right, how does this fit in with different elements? Because sometimes people don't have to respect that different church backgrounds, whether you're African, Afro-Caribbean, has really resulted in different perspectives, and you know what I mean. And we have to open the damage that it's made on our lives. But go on.
I just like to put it out there that actually that's what my research is about.
Okay,
it's understanding what within our culture, what cultural sensitivity really does for our mental health. And how our culture facilitates resilience, because the truth of the matter is that there are a lot of positivities about our culture that make us more resilient. And I like to really put it out there that our even the very things that may be the negative factors, you know, because there are pros and cons to everything. Our collectivist culture and our give it to God culture sometimes is what keeps us, you know, more resilient. But doing it too much, always having a balance is important. And this, I mean, it's about keeping a balance. Some of it can be detrimental if you don't give it to God and still talk to your therapist, or you can talk to your family but still talk to a professional, kind of thing, you know. And it's about having that balance. And really, that's what my research is about, to put it out there.
No.
With regards to the African community. And African and Afro-Caribbean
community. And I know, and trust me, I got people hitting me up saying, yo, I want to talk to you. So I'm lining up with some more podcasts. So you're gonna be the most busiest podcast person out there still, which is fantastic, sis. No, this is what we're about, man. And it's not about, yo, this is no, guys, I am here to it's not about Roger keep concealing Angela. Listen, Angela, you need to get this conversation and knowledge out there. Last squeeze up question. Do you find a difference between the African and Afro-Caribbean communities? Do you see differences from is it a total different social? Is it different angle, or are we just the same thing?
I think we're very similar in a lot of respects. Like, as far as I'm getting to know, working with you and John and my team. I think we're very quite similar, even with church. But I think you're I don't know. I think we're quite similar. I think we get along well. There may be some differences with regards to historical things, which I'm still getting to discover, because there's still a lot of mistrust between both of us, and that's from a more generational context.
Oh, 100%.
Go into that.
It's
a long conversation.
We're not going to go back to who sold us off. But anyway, let's not go there. But anyway, cool. Because bring it in, sis. Sorry.
It's a long conversation, but I think I'm still getting to know,
that's cool.
Getting to understand.
No, one thing I would say, guys, just to say, the biggest change in my life in terms of knowledge of African, understanding African culture was actually going to Lagos, and that actually changed my perspective on life. It's not like I had a negative perspective. Literally, as I landed in Lagos, it's like, why do I feel like I'm at home? I've been to the West Indies twice, and I felt like I was at home. And I have to keep on saying it. I don't know if you do this in Ghana, but yam chips and chicken is fire.
Oh,
you know
man,
okay.
yeah.
You know
Green pepper.
And green pepper. Okay, cool. Like green pepper, like people, somebody, yam chips and chicken. It is absolutely the one. It's big man chips and a piece of chicken. You know what I mean? And that's so for me, it was beautiful, and it really. And I was loved in Nigeria, absolutely loved. And I was thought, but you shouldn't like me because I'm not. But they treated me as an African. It's weird. It's like, I was like, yo, dudes, I kind of stand out here in the middle of Lagos because I'm a bit more lighter than the rest of you. But they just love. They just. It's just beautiful experience, and I feel like a lot of things is just perceptions that we've just taken aboard, lies. We've took on lies, and we just need to unite together, have real conversations, and enjoy each other's company. 100%, man. You know what I mean? But sis, I've got about 5,000 people lined up ready to go. Yo, Angela, who Angela's details. So sis, I'm gonna line you up, man. You know what I mean? No worries, man. I know you got so much to say, and we could carry on talking for another 45 minutes. But I've got some tunes to play because you know what I mean. I'm good to talk, people. I will talk for the whole 2 hours, but I'll get in trouble by my radio boss say, Roger, like, you know what I mean. You're talking too much. Me talk too much. You're joking. Me never talk. But anyway, Angela, enough love. And I'm so sorry. We could carry on talking. I'm so sorry. We'll stop you right now.
It's fine.
You know what I'm saying?
Honestly,
Cool.
That's fine. Yeah.
Any
You
feedback?
had a really good conversation.
No. Absolutely fantastic. And what I am going to be saying is, we'll be moving forward on this, and we'll be bringing into conversations around the shows and the stations and the presenters, because we need this conversation out there on a consistent level, and that's just from my perspective as well. But thanks again, sis, and guys, I'm gonna start off. I'm going to the crazy cool music, but I have to start with a bit of a gospel vibe, because we have to ease away back into the music, you know what I mean, after that deep talk there. Anyway, so but enough love, everyone. I'm looking in, people enjoy the conversation and everything, sis. And thanks again for being real, transparent, and out there, man. So enough love, sis. And thanks
for having me, Roger.
No worries. Any last words you would like to say before you go?
It's okay not to be okay. If you're struggling during lockdown, I'm happy to offer any support as much as I can. If I can't offer support, I'm happy to give you a referral. But remember that you are loved, you are enough. God is with you. I pray for His peace to be with you, and His love and His mercy for all of you. And it's okay to still give it to God and talk to your therapist, please. It's okay.
Wow. Sis, enough love for that, man. Listen, you take care, and anything's just we'll touch base and holla, man. And thank you for your time, man. All right,
so much for having me. Love everyone.
Blessings, man. Sis, blessings.